Hello, YouTubers, and welcome back to another episode of Freedom Friday here on the Ohio Patriot Education Network YouTube channel. I am, as always, your host, AR, the Ohio Patriot. And for today's episode, we're going to talk about leftist terrorist organizations in the state of Ohio, terrible parents, diversity hires and why they shouldn't exist, home defense, as well as a bunch of other topics here and there across the board. So yeah, we got a lot of stuff to cover today, is what it is, and we're gonna discuss a bunch of different things. So we're gonna get right into it. Basically, well, first and foremost, the biggest scumbag award of the day has to go to dipshit Biden, who is now sending fucking aid overseas to Gaza because of course he is. Because of course this motherfucker is. You know, gonna sit there and piss away taxpayer dollars to fucking send bullshit overseas to people who hate our fucking guts, dude. Like, no, you're not wasting my tax dollars to do that, you fucking scumbag, you treasonous piece of shit, you motherfucker who's a goddamn cheater. But yeah, Biden says U.S. to carry out airdrops of aid into Gaza in the coming days. Yeah, fuck that shit now, dude. Nah, fuck these people. First of all, you have a country full of fucking terrorists who will make sure to kill their own kids, by the way, for those who don't know, because they'll sit there and put their fucking, little terrorist shit on there, the Hamas people there, that are in this terrorist group, Hamas is what it is. They'll sit there and put their fucking things on top of schools, on top of churches, on top of everything else like that. Well, not churches, I guess, it'd be mosques, technically speaking. Houses of worship, if you will. And they'll make sure it's fucking kids and women and children and stuff like that's what it is there, dude. Hospitals is another one of these places they love to do. By the way, they have no irrigation system in that country because they're so fucking dumb that they'll sit there and take the pipes, who just happen to be the perfect size to basically make homemade mortars out of them. So they'll use irrigation piping and turn it into fucking like mortar shiz, what it is, dude, or some kind of like rock repel grenades or something like that's what it is there. So it's just so fucking dumb, dude, entirely. It's like, no, man, let these people starve, let them fucking rot, and bang, bang, boom, fucking done, dude. That needs to happen, honestly, in the situation entirely, dude. Period, end of fucking story is what it is. Which brings us to the next story of the day, which is actually one of about 10 different stories I want to talk about today. Here's what it is. And I need to find the exact one I'm looking for here. Okay, here we go. Yeah, so we got going to X here from that Ollie London dude last night. He was talking about that motherfucker who was supposed to be like a Navy, or not Navy, Air Force. The guy who basically became a Human Torch the other day in Washington, D.C. For those who don't know the story, this Aaron guy basically, first of all, obviously has ties to Antifa is what it is. Antifa, BLM, etc. That's what it is. They're just like all the good leftists do, man. And this is why I brought up the whole leftist terrorist organizations here in the state of Ohio is what it is. Which apparently one of them is not too far from me. It's about 20, 30-minute drive away from me right now. The other one's about probably 2.5 hours, give or take, up there in Cleveland, what it is then. Which is not surprising, and that's the thing. If you look at, it's funny too, by the way, you have that SPLC, Southern Poverty Law Center, where they will only target like centrist and right-wing groups and stuff on there, dude. But yet, God forbid, they actually make a real hate map of all the leftist terrorist organizations out here. Maybe that's what we need to do on the right now, actually, dude, is make up our own website. And it's just like outlining like all these leftist terrorist orgs in every single state is what it is then. They actually are terrorist organizations by default is what it is, by definition and stuff like that. Textbook definition then. And like all these people that are like obviously trying to like, groom and molest children and stuff like that, etc., which half these fucking people are is what it is now. We'll get to that a little bit later with Karen Berg, by the way, who is a state senator in Kentucky, who is also the same piece of shit who was the one behind. I'm trying to remember what the actual. I know what the letteration is for it. It's like CAA. It's a CARR, I believe is what it is. So it's like car, but with another R on it. Then, and it's supposed to be like something retention, something or something retention, something like that. But basically, it's nothing more than red flag laws. The new name is what it is there. And she was trying to do that to basically push an agenda to because supposedly like her child, I'm not sure if the kid was born a guy and then she basically went full nut and tried to turn the kid into like a fucking girl, or they were born a girl and she tried to turn them into a guy is what it was. I'm not sure which way it was, honestly. But either way, a couple years ago, I guess they apparently took their own life by firearms. It was, and yeah. Then she went on another lunatic rant this week, is what it was, after introducing that crap like a couple months ago. Then it was this past week she went on another lunatic rant there in the Kentucky General Assembly, where she's basically trying to cuck for pedophiles now, dude. And it's like, Jesus Christ, lady. And it kind of makes me wonder if her child, the one that took their own life there, is what it was, if they did so because they were actively going to be arrested for being a child molester. It would not surprise me in the least, honestly, dude. It does make me wonder that, honestly. But anyway, going back to what I was saying there with the thing with this guy that was Human Torch there. So apparently the backstory was the dude basically went to Washington, D.C., I think it was about a week or so ago, give or take, and went on this whole fucking rant, etc., about bullshit, about a bunch of bullshit is what it was, and like, oh, genocide this, genocide that stuff is what it was. And then proceeded to like take like a gas can or something like that, dump it on himself, and then Human Torch himself was what it was then. And since then, everybody's starting to figure out what this Aaron guy really was, which was he was basically an infiltrator of the U.S. military is what it was, dude. He was an Antifa-affiliated piece of shit. He was a leftist fucking turd. He actually disgraced and mocked dead soldiers in this country, et cetera, all over social media there. And we're getting to more stuff here, is what was said here for this thing. But yeah, this person's, as Ollie guy said, Aaron Bushnell is not a martyr. He is not a hero. He was a deranged pronoun-using Antifa extremist who brought shame and disgrace to the uniform he was wearing. He was affiliated with anarchist groups including Antifa, pro-Hamas. He praised the October 7th attacks, calling it retaliating. He was severely anti-Semitic. He used pronouns and belonged to an Antifa queer activist group, including Serve the People Akron, an Ohio-based trans and LGBTQ plus extremist group. I didn't even know this thing existed, by the way, until I read this the other day. And I started looking into it, and yeah, these people are a bunch of fucking child molesters, dude, 100% in the state. And they're also, like, very much, like, basically what that Valarca woman shit was, that BAM group and stuff, where they want to carry out terror attacks in the state is what it is. And I guarantee these people are going to do some shit this summer is what it'll be for the rioting and stuff that's going to be happening very soon in this nation. So, anyway, but, and then it said, brought shame and dishonor to service members and armed forces by burning himself in uniform. So he previously mocked fallen service members in posts on Reddit forums. Could have caused serious injury to staff and police outside the Israel embassy as the flames spread, which that's where he did that, by the way. He did outside the Israel's embassy there in Washington, D.C. Was trying to blame them for everything is what it is. So this act has radicalized other Palestinian activists, which could lead to more people following in his footsteps. His act was praised by multiple foreign terrorist organizations, including Hamas and Palestine Liberation Front. Radical trans activists. He used a female pseudonym online and affiliated with far-left LGBTQ anarchist groups that use violence to push gender ideology. He also followed activist groups on Facebook, including Burning River Anarchist Collective, a Cleveland, Ohio-based anarchist group, and Black Rose / Rosa Negra San Antonio, a local active anarchist federation. So yeah, this right here is a leftist terrorist organization right now, 100% right now, dude. Burning River Anarchist Collective here in Cleveland, Ohio. And like I said, we also got Serve the People Akron. So, yeah. It's scary to think about that this shit is in my state right now, dude. It really is. And it makes sense why you have these people who are the same ones that vote, 3-4 months ago now. Actually, that's longer than that. I'm thinking about it because it was November of last year, so it'd be, I guess 4 months ago then. To literally allow kids to be killed in the moment of birth, and then also sterilize children at any age is what it is then. So, yeah, I guarantee these are the nuts that shouldn't have voting rights in the state, and they do is what it is, man. So, yeah, just a bunch of sick fuckers entirely, dude. And then people are obviously making jokes about this whole thing. It says, ignite your career, join the Air Force today. And some dude just, torched up. It's kind of fucked up, dude. But yeah, like I said, the Aaron guy was a piece of shit in general, dude. And it's great. It's a good thing he's gone, honestly, dude. Another thing I thought was very interesting, this has to do with this whole story as well on that one. So at the same time, and I've talked about this before on this channel and on the other channels I have and stuff like that on here over the years in multiple videos, multiple streams, etc. About patriots in this country, dude. You know, you basically have like you have multiple people here. You have actual patriots like myself. You have patriots. They're people that claim to be patriotic in this country, but when the shit hits the fan, they're going to show the true colors of being a fucking fraud and everything else like that. They're going to be the infiltrators in your groups and stuff like that most of the time and try to kill you and stuff and whatnot. And then you have like the frauds, the phonies, etc., that are, you know, just these guys that want a paycheck. They'll be the guys that are in military uniform, whatever the case be, but in reality, they just want to fucking, you know, they just want a free college career, whatever it is there, or something else for that matter. And there are also there's a lot of times where also the fake trades too, for that matter, in this country. And this is exactly what we saw last night, honestly, with this video, with this little stream. Here's what it is, which was U.S. Army veterans burn their uniforms at a vigil for left-wing extremist Aaron Bushnell, who burned himself alive outside the Israel embassy in Washington, D.C. while screaming "Free Palestine." As they burned their uniforms, the vets chanted, "Remember Aaron." Said Bushnell was revealed to have communications and affiliation with anarchist group Antifa and multiple other extremist groups. He also appears to have been a LGBTQ plus activist, using pronouns in his LinkedIn bio, being part of an extreme queer activist group, and using a female pseudonym name while communicating online. So yeah, you got all these fucking retards there that just have the fire lit, and you got this idiot with a fucking lighter fluid in his hand. And then, yeah, you just have every other asshole come up there and just start torching fucking uniforms. Like, what a fucking disgrace, dude. These people are a fucking disgrace to this country entirely, dude. Like, these are the people that should honestly just be taken out and shot. And I'm not even lying about that, dude. They should be literally fucking... There should be military knocking on their door and just grabbing them up for MP shit and just taking them out and shooting their asses. And being done with it. Because these are going to be the motherfuckers who are going to be against us in the coming civil wars, what will be, dude. And the sad part is they have some military training behind them is what it is. Now, granted, who knows how much that is. Could be a little bit, could be a lot. Some of them could be active, you know, ex-combat vets, etc. there. You could have a bunch of them that are like that piece of shit Casey Weinstein, where they were just some lawyer guy in the fucking military or something like that. Hell, it could have just been there was some dude at some fucking base someplace for, you know, 3-4 years, whatever it is there. So, but yeah, it's just disgusting either way. And it's really fucking infuriating to know that these pieces of shit are out walking amongst us right now, dude. And are that much of a disgrace to this country that they would sit there and burn their uniforms in solidarity with some fucking piece of shit leftist terrorist piece of crap is what it is, dude. And I'll tell you what, as the son of someone who did serve this nation during the Korean War, it really fucking infuriates me, dude. It infuriates me to no end, honestly. Because my father, he fought to keep this nation free so that pieces of shit like this could turn around and disgrace the uniform they swore. By the way, not only the uniform, but the fact that they swore a fucking oath to uphold the U.S. Constitution in this country. The fact that they swore an oath to this fucking document and they want to sit there and fucking burn their uniforms over some fucking leftist turd. Fuck all these people, dude, seriously. I hope they all rot in hell very soon, honestly. And I mean that seriously. Because fuck them all, dude. Turning our attention to a different topic of the day, which is the Texas wildfires that have been going on for the last few days now. For those that don't know about direct energy weapons, DEWs, I was going to put that in the title, but I didn't get a chance to. What it was. Basically, we've had 2 instances right now of these being used for real right now. One was obviously in Hawaii. The other one was in Chile. Basically, where they did it in Hawaii, it was for them to make a 15-minute city there is what it is. Chile, where they used it in the country of Chile, it was basically, I should say Chile. It was, I guess, the staging area or whatever that was to be used as a model for 15-minute cities or something like that is what it was. And now there's talk of potentially this Texas wildfire actually being started by one too as well, which would actually make sense given Biden's comments about basically talking about blue rooftops and stuff like that and repainting everything a blue rooftop and stuff. But then you also have this guy out here who's a Texas farmer talking about the whole thing here. And as he was saying here in the thing, it says, significance behind the Texas fires. This is another blow to our food chain. Where the fires happen is where 88% of Texas cattle feed. So yeah, there goes your cattle meat and stuff like that. Your, Texas Longhorns, your steaks, your, roasts, etc. there. So the U.S. is already down roughly 1 billion pounds of American beef. These fires are another win for foreign imports. So it is another coincidence that this specific location is on fire while globalist initiatives are trying to push everyone away from beef in the United States. It says, quote, by now, you guys have heard about the fires going on in Texas. Over 500,000 acres have burned so far. What a tragedy and misfortune for the families that are ranching there. See, a lot of people don't understand what that's one more hit to our nation's food supply chain. We are already in a very vulnerable position, and the lowest cattle numbers we've seen since 1950. Said we're down like 1 billion pounds of beef in this country, which means we gotta have to import more, which doesn't help the local producers. It also, by the way, doesn't actually go through any kind of real chain of custody is what it is. So you could potentially have tainted meat coming in here in this country, dude. From Mexico, from El Salvador, from Honduras. Hell, for all the fuck we know, it's not even fucking beef. It could be human fucking meat being passed off as fucking beef, dude. There could be some Soylent Green shit for that matter, honestly. So, anyway. Where right now? Said, yeah, this continues to weaken our food supply chain. Said, we're not even into summer yet and dealing with whatever droughts may show up now. This guy said, so here's what you can do. Find your local farmers and ranchers, have their back. Make sure that you know that they're growing your food and raising your food for somebody in America that cares. So what we can do is change the way we source our food, leave the existing grocery supply chain where they get the retail dollar and go to our local farmers and ranchers, shake their hand, and make sure that you get the retail dollar. Make sure they get your retail dollars. That's how you can secure our food supply chain and also end up making it better for not the producers, but the families and the environment. All right, I gotta take this call real quick.
What's up, man? I don't know if you can hear me, but I can't hear you.
Yeah, hang on, I'll talk to my cousin for a sec. Just keep the show going
sorry.
for me.
What is going on, people? So it looks like Honda's got it wrong, being that we're on the 1st of March. Although a lot of crazy shit's been happening this year so far, and we're just now in March, like I said. Makes you wonder what else is on the list to happen.
Okay, I'm back. Yeah, we were just talking about the Texas wildfires and how it's 88% of the cattle there are in the grazing area that was burned now.
It's freaking ridiculous.
And this guy was basically just saying, yeah, use your connections to go to ranchers and start buying directly and stuff, which I feel like we need to start bringing back a lot more butcher shops in this country, honestly.
Oh,
I remember
as
a kid, where my house is right here that I'm currently living in, if you go down our street and like down another street, so it's basically like this is my street. If you go down to the end of the street, there's a stop sign, then you turn, I think it's the left or right. No, it's right. Turn right. And it's maybe like 100, 200 yards down the road. There's what it is. there's this little place that's maybe, I don't know, this about a third of the size of a house is what it is. That used to be a butcher shop when we were kids for at least 10 years or so.
Yeah.
And I think I was about 17 or so, maybe, when it went out of business then.
That's
And then it
sad.
became like some tractor supply thing or whatever, or it became some like person's personal storage for like their tractor stuff and whatnot. So, but yeah, it was nice. Like it was not a huge building, but it was a big enough building to where they had a little storefront there with the cases and everything, and then they had an area in the back where they could just butcher stuff on site then too.
Yeah, definitely need more of that shit for sure.
And that
And
being
I
said,
actually
though,
have a connection.
yeah,
Yeah, I wish I had the money, to where I could buy,
mm-hmm.
because I can buy like quarter, half,
Mm-hmm.
or whole cattle.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, I'd have to, win the lottery or something to be able to purchase a whole cow, because that's a
Yeah.
lot of fucking money.
Yeah.
I think a
It's like
half a
thousands.
cow, which is what I would want,
Mm-hmm.
would be, I don't know, like $3 to $5 grand probably.
Yeah, that's quite a bit.
That's a lot of money, but if you think about it in retrospect, that's a lot of fucking meat. If you go on Bearded Butchers YouTube page, is who I watch a lot, because they're in your area, your neck of the woods, and they have videos where they actually butcher, I think they have one, it's a diagram, is what they call it. Like they have one for pig, cow, bison, elk, deer,
Yeah, and I've
lamb,
seen
I
them do
think.
deep stuff down too before. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah, so if you go in there and watch the beef diagram, man, you get a lot of fucking meat.
Yeah. Well, I think that's why a lot of people too, like whether it be Tactical Muffin Top or anybody like that out there, does a lot of deer hunting in their areas, because you get a lot of it right now. And unfortunately, like you were saying with Nebraska having a huge influx of coyote coming back up because you're not paying anything to the fur bearers anymore. I think it's kind of the same thing here in Ohio too, for that matter. I noticed we have like a lot of things that should be like fur bearing stuff that there's like no money in or whatever anymore. And yeah, they're making comebacks because that is what it is now. And it's like, bro, like that's the last thing we need to have. And then on top of that, like with the amount they're charging, all the deer tags and everything else like that, it's like a lot of us can't afford that even to go out there and hunt. It's like, no, dude, like give us a fucking free weekend or something like that for everything.
That,
and
or
we'll
just
take
have a
down
friend
like
that
1,000
you can go
deer or
on their
something like
land.
that. Yeah.
Here in Texas, I don't know if they still do it, but years ago, I remember, because foxes were a nuisance. And if you killed a fox and you took their ears, I forget where you had to take them to, you get paid money.
Yeah, my cousins were over the other day, and they were just chilling outside because I was in the bathroom at the time when they came. And they were looking back off of our porch there, and ended up seeing like 3 or 4 deer running around the back area there. So there are deer in this area. So it kind of does suck to know that I'm not going to be able to hunt them this coming around, since we'll be leaving by the end of the year is what it is here, before the end of the year. So,
I'm sorry about that, man. I wish
it does suck.
You could win the lottery or
well,
something.
I'm hoping that's the call was about. My cousin's getting me a lottery ticket for tonight is what it is. So
that's cool. I hope it works out for you, man. Because I really hate for you to lose your family's property that you've been on all your life. That just fucking sucks, dude.
It does. But anyway, going back to the stories we were talking about here, we got a bunch more to jump through here. We got this one.
Hold on, before you start, was that also the wildfires that were in Texas that you're talking about? Was that the one in Carson County?
I believe so. Yeah.
By the nuke plant. Or no,
I don't know if it was that one particularly. I just know it was. They just said cattle area and stuff like that, so I'm not sure if it was the exact place or it was multiple places. I don't know.
I keep hearing people say nuclear power plant, but it wasn't. It was a nuclear weapon
facility
where they made nuclear weapons.
That makes sense.
Which is even scarier too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, and what's funny to me too, by the way, like even go like for a second here, go on to the Chinese spy balloons and stuff like that that are going over our head in our country right now, and like have been for years now and stuff like that. I tend to remember it was during Trump's administration for a little bit there there were quite a few Chinese foreign nationals caught either near or outside random military bases trying to take pictures and stuff like that.
Yep, I remember hearing about that too.
And it kind of makes me wonder, like, hey, how many years has this been in the making right now? And are they trying to basically just get like more information and do what they can do to basically fuck with us right now? Is what it is then. So
you remember how in Fear the Walking Dead, they shot that one nuclear warhead and it like fucked everything up in Texas, and
yeah, because it was like 10 different things on it or whatever.
Yeah, and then also when Morgan met that chick who was pregnant, they showed the scenes where she worked at a nuclear plant. Dude, if something ever, like if the grid went down, shit hit the fan and everything, and nuclear power plants, eventually go kaboom. Dude, I'm fucked. I have one that's like hour and a half, 2 hours away from me.
Well, you're not the only one, because there's like, I think like 6 in the state of Ohio or something like that, and like
I think Ohio would
it would not only fuck us as a state, you have pretty much most of this area of like the Rust Belt be gone too, because it would fuck Pennsylvania too, because I think they have a couple as well.
Yeah, all you Yankees up there,
like all the ones down from us, like Kentucky and Tennessee and all those places like that, would all be gone probably too, or have like fallout from them. So yeah, there's very few places that would actually survive all that shit, dude.
And what terrifies me is that if even if the grid goes down, the power grid, who's to say that the 30% of nuclear arms that is on the Wi-Fi wouldn't just randomly start going off because it doesn't have the signals or whatever? Dude, that's fucking terrifying to think about.
Yes, it is. Anyway, going back to this next story we're going to talk about here. It said, after being released from ICE custody, a legal immigrant dresses up as delivery man in Minneapolis, Minnesota.
I saw that.
To trick his way into America's home. He was demanding money and then killed 3 people in front of 2 young children who were under the age of 5 that were in the house at the time. He was previously convicted in Illinois on aggravated battery charges, aggravated unlawful use of a firearm, unlawful use of a weapon, and possession of a firearm. Said the worst criminals in the world are being illegally imported into America right now. Said, did the media just miss this one? Couldn't imagine why. So on January 30th, Alonzo Perry Mingo impersonated a package delivery man to trick his way into a home in Minneapolis, Minnesota. He demanded money and then eliminated 3 people in front of 2 young children. Police believe that drug trafficking played an important role in this case, although his exact immigration status at the time of the crime was unknown. Court records show that back in March 2019, he was in ICE custody, but yet he was let free. Said information is straight from Federation of America Immigration Reform. For anybody wondering, said he was previously convicted in Illinois of aggravated battery charges, aggravated unlawful possession of a weapon, and possession of a firearm. He was ultimately sentenced to 57 months in prison in November 2020, and then was let out on supervised release in February 2023, only to commit this murder less than a year later.
2 things on that. Murders. One, this is why I don't answer the door, because I have, a glass window on the door. I can kind of peer out, and I have a window next to it. I just open the window. I always have a firearm in my hand because I don't know who the fuck's knocking at my door, and I'm not going to take any chances. And 2, I'm sorry, when the cops finally got there, they should have dusted him.
Well, that's the same thing with here, man. Like, if I don't know somebody's coming over, like, I'm not going the door unarmed. It's like last night I got pizza, and this fucking dumbass kid went to the front door instead of the back door, and I'm like, bro, like, back door. I told you guys back door. and then I like went outside, and he's like, oh, did you order pizza? And I'm like, yeah, I told you guys back door. And he's like, oh, sorry. And I was like, nah, you're good. And then I just gave him the money is what it was. And yeah, he seemed like he wasn't 100%. Like he was a little bit slow or something, maybe. So
maybe
makes sense.
Anyway. Shit's too dangerous these days. You keep hearing more and more about these sad stories of these illegal pieces of garbage, human beings that shouldn't even be in this country, that are killing Americans. Like what was their name?
Larkin Riley.
Laken Riley. Yeah.
Larkin. Yeah, Larkin.
Yeah. It's fucking sad, and it shouldn't happen.
Yeah, and
it's all blamed on this administration.
And I talked about that story a little bit last night. What's even more disgusting, you got the fucking piece of shit mayor of Athens there trying to blame Trump when it was his fucking stupid ass mayoralship and the dumbass DAs and stuff like that in that area that let this motherfucker out of jail. Because the guy who killed her should have been in a fucking prison system in the state of Georgia, but yet it was overcrowding that they just let this guy out of fucking jail then. Like, what the fuck, dude?
They shouldn't be in jail. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, they should be killed.
There's certain ones that, in my opinion, should be executed. Like this piece of shit that just killed that family.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It should be executed. And obviously, it's going to be hard as fuck, but I say all these fucking illegal people that has come in under Biden's administration needs to be rounded up and
dealt with accordingly.
Deported.
Yep. And then, of course, you got this one, which kind of goes to the diversity hires in the title here today. So we got diversity hire cops. These guys were out. They did what some of these people do, which is go out there and they check like rivers and stuff to see if they can find anything, scavenger hunt kind of shit. And this guy's pulled a fucking gun out of the river is what it was. Like, it was a Glock 43 or whatever they found there with the serial number intact and everything like that. They go and call the cops and they're like, hey, we found this out of canal, blah, 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 blah. Fucking cops come out. So you got fucking 2 black cops coming out there. And then start talking shit at these kids like, oh, what are you doing touching these guns? Is it your gun? And then trying to basically blame them and get their information and try to act like they're the fucking criminals and shit here. And it's like, bro, like, what the fuck? Like, it's so retarded entirely.
It is. These videos are actually popular because there was one guy I used to watch all the time, and he had a couple friends, and that's all they did. They went through these rivers and shit, and he made the news quite a few times because he found a ton of guns and stuff, and they go and they clean up these rivers and canals and shit, and if they find a gun, they immediately call it in. So it's not like this is a new thing.
Yeah, and speaking of diversity hires, so I was watching local news here a little bit ago, and they were talking about Cleveland, Ohio, and how the majority of firefighters are white guys. And that's a problem, apparently, because more diversity. And it's like, no, it's only a problem because you idiots want to get people killed in fires because you want to hire a bunch of fucking people who can't even carry people out of a fire is what it is.
Yeah, it's all these fucking quota hires, just like with police. You see all these fucking women that should not be cops. Like there was this one I saw a video. I can't remember where it was at, but she was probably 5'0". And there was this. He was a black guy, which kind of is or isn't important depending on how you look at it. But he was on the side of the road changing a tire, and he had a couple of his brothers with him. Well, he was on the ground, I guess, trying to put the jack under, or I don't know. But anyways, he's laying on the ground. And she comes up and asks what he's doing and then demands his ID. And before the video starts, she's already tasered him on the ground, handcuffed him. And when the video starts, it's him walking with her to the hood of the car, the cop car, and she kind of throws him a little bit where he has to lay on the hood. And he had a pistol with him, and she pulled it out, and he's trying to talk to her. And she jabs the taser in his back a couple of times, and then just fucking makes him ride the lightning. Handcuffed, leaning over the hood, no danger. She fucking zaps his ass, and you can hear him. He just starts screaming and starts crying. And the fucked up thing is they charged him with resisting arrest, cocaine laced with fentanyl, marijuana, a felon in possession of a gun, and something else. I don't remember what the other one was. But in the video, all she pulls out of his pocket is a gun. There's no drugs. They said that they did a roadside test, but witnesses on the ground, including a cop, said there was no testing done. Then the video starts coming out because the cop didn't even realize his brother was filming. Yeah. And all these charges started slowly disappearing.
Hang on, I'll be back in a minute. I think my cousin's here.
Yeah, I mean, it was just fucking crazy that she charged. It was conspiracy, man. They were trying to fucking ruin this dude's life. They found out that he wasn't a felon. and that charge just disappeared. The cocaine laced with fentanyl charge was thrown out because they said that they did another test, I guess in the PD or whatever, and it came back that it wasn't cocaine laced with fentanyl, which, like I said, there was no drugs found on him at all in the video or people on the ground. The only thing, like I said, the only thing she pulled out was a firearm that was his, and it was legal. And all these charges just started disappearing, and he's in jail with a couple of charges still sticking, but his lawyer is fighting to have everything thrown out, and he's already filed a civil rights lawsuit. I think he's filed it for, it's over $4 million, I think it was, if I remember correctly. But that just shows that these quota hired motherfuckers are just so fucking inept and should not be in these positions because they can't handle it, and especially the women, like a big guy like me. Do you think a tiny ass woman cop or even two tiny ass women cop are going to be able to manhandle me and throw me in cuffs? No, they're going to resort to deadly force because they cannot physically handle a big person without, torture, like that woman did with that guy with the taser. She made him ride the fucking lightning a couple times. And I'm sorry, if you're that scared and can't do anything other than shoot a taser, shoot a gun at somebody to, restrain them or whatever, you shouldn't be in that kind of job. Just like with what Ohio is saying with like firefighting. If you can't carry someone that's, your weight or even 200 to 300 pounds and drag them out, you shouldn't be. I know there are some female firefighters out there that are really strong and can do it, but that's such a small percentage that it's almost non-existent because there's not a lot of female firefighters out there that can do that. But that's like there are some female out there that are stronger than men. Doesn't mean it makes it the majority or enough to even really matter. So, and they want to fight for like equal rights and shit, but it's like, sorry, men are inherently stronger than women. This country was built and maintained by men. Not saying women can't do men jobs, but the ones that can is almost a rarity. But yeah, back to the cops. I just don't think women should be cops. Being like security guards or jailers or something is one thing, but actually on the street fighting crime and whatnot, no, I don't think. I mean, desk work, sure. Detective work, okay, I can see them maybe doing detective work, but boots on the ground cops, no, women should not be cops.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, my cousin came over then to give me the stuff, and
yeah, I was going on a little rant,
yeah, apparently he apparently took a piece of a busted log that we had back there and threw it towards the wood line, and he said because someone hit somewhere out there yesterday, and when they did that, they said about 6 to 7 deer went flying up out of nowhere.
Oh damn! Too bad you didn't have a.
Yeah. Well, no, it was
rifle.
like little first year babies is what it was though.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
but they'll be big enough by next season though. To probably hunt down and stuff like that and eat. So.
Well, even baby deer is still good to eat.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. Like they would be, and I've talked to people about that before. Like the first or second year ones and stuff. Like that would be the ones you'd actually want because they're the most succulent tasting. They might not make the most meat, obviously, but
yep,
they would be the most tenderized and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So
deer doesn't have a lot of fat in the first place, so
no, it doesn't.
you got to be careful how you cook it. So, but
Yeah, I've
the
wanted to try
young.
squirrel for a long time too, and I haven't done that yet.
I've heard it's really good. I was actually talking to I think it was Lead on Steel yesterday or day before yesterday about squirrels, because he was saying how it took him many years to try it, but he hunts many of them a year now because he said they're so damn good.
I found a
I'd like
video
to
here a
try
couple
them.
days ago of it was this black woman and her family that apparently were raccoon hunting, and then they were doing like a catch, clean, cook, kill, whatever you want to call it there. And yeah, they were like making like some kind of weird like raccoon like stew or like almost like chicken jerky stuff or something out of it. Which apparently the problem with coons is though is that they don't have a whole lot of meat on them anyway. So you're basically getting like some thigh meat, and that's about it, roughly, from what I'm understanding.
Kind of like your birds.
Taking the whole thing down, and then you're like, gutting it and taking everything else out, and maybe you get like a little bit more out of it. But yeah,
it's like dove. Dove's really good, but the only thing you can really get off of it is their breast meat.
Two Live Moon, I actually had a conversation a few years back, and I still talked to Guns Barbecue and those guys, and we were discussing bird hunting and stuff like that because he does a lot up in Michigan there. And I forget what it was he said he was hunting, if it was goose or what it was.
Quail is so fucking good. If you ever get a chance to eat quail, do it. It's very good.
But yeah, I think he said he was hunting goose or whatever. And the problem is with the goose is it takes so long to like pluck them and then get them all done and everything like that. What he would do is he would actually just take the front area where the actual breast is and like slice those off somehow. And then he would take a bunch of those, like 6, 8, whatever he had there, throw them on his smoker and just smoke them for a few hours. And they were like super tender and just so good. Is what he said.
Yeah. Like dove, the way, I know how to do it. You can take, you turn the bird over where its breasts are facing you or its breast, and you take your thumb and start at the bottom of it and you run your thumb underneath it and it like pops them out.
Yeah.
And you just clean them off. And one really good thing to do with that is make, I guess they'd be considered like armadillo eggs. And you take a jalapeno and you put cream cheese in it. You put the dove breast in it, wrap it all in bacon, and throw it on the smoker or the barbecue pit, whichever.
Interesting.
And it's so, dude, dove breasts are so fucking good.
Yeah.
And me and a buddy years ago, this is over a decade ago. We were at his house and just walking out in the pasture, and he had his shotgun with him, and some dove flew over our head, and he took a couple out. We took them in, did the whole, peeling the dove breast out, and ate them. They were fucking delicious. Except he didn't cook them long enough, so they were, kind of raw.
Yeah.
They were still fucking delicious.
So since we're on that subject, are shotguns still the king of home defense?
Well, I mean, I would say yes.
Yeah, because I was thinking about this too, and I'm just like, okay, so if somebody breaks into my house, am I going to grab a handgun, a shotgun, or my AR? And I'm like, well, I'm not going to grab the AR because I'm not going to blow my eardrums out in the home.
Plus, you have a more chance of it going through.
Yeah. Where if I grab a shotgun that has slugs in it, like, that's pretty good to me, man.
So, well, not only that, if you grab a shotgun and say if you have, birdshot or even, buckshot, if you like hit like an arm, that bitch is coming off. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the one thing I wish about Amazon is that they make bigger belt hooks like this for fat guys like me, because they only have ones that are like about 10 to 14 inches smaller than I am. So
yeah, you might have to just customize them, add more, more fabric. But
well, no, the problem was I would do like basically double, and then it would be like too much is what it'd be. So.
But I'm serious. Like if you use the pistol, you probably would have to damn near empty the mag to get them to stop them. Rifle, like AR, kind of the same thing, and you run more of a chance of it going straight through. But shotgun, that's taking limbs off.
This looks like an SBR.
Yeah, it's got a pistol brace on it. So yeah, it's probably SBR.
Then we got our side by side.
Oh, I fucking love side by sides. I do
So
not
when we
like
do this
over under.
meetup at some point in the future, Matt and Honda both need to bring their side by sides, and we need to have a side by side off between the two of them, and then everybody else takes one of the guns, and we start doing side by side offs with each other.
I have one too.
Well, you can bring yours too, and we can do fucking triples or something. That'll be the case then.
Yeah, because Matt and I bought both of our side by sides in Wanamaker
Yeah,
when
I
we
think
all
Honda did
went.
too, didn't he? I thought.
No, Honda didn't buy.
Okay.
He already had his side by side, but Matt and I, we both bought ours there that same day.
Okay. Yeah, he bought something else there then. Oh, that's right. He bought that 308 bolt gun, I think is what it was.
Yeah, he was also looking for a Rossi pump action 22.
Yeah, and then the only things you could find were like 2 or 3 times the price.
Yeah, we found one, and the guy was wanting, I don't remember how much it was, but it was a couple $100 over what you could buy it online.
Yeah, which is silly.
Honda actually, was asking him to try to come down. And he's like, man, I could get this online right now. And he brought it up and showed it to him. And the guy's like, yeah, I can't budge on the price. I'm like, well, you're fucking stupid, dude.
Yeah.
Your whole goal is what? To sell this stuff? You're not really fucking wanting to sell it then, are you?
I really want to do 3-gun at some point.
Yeah, I think it would be fun to get in the, like ISP or what is it? ISPCA or
something like that.
I don't know, whatever the competitions are. I think it would
even
be fun.
Even like rimfire 2-gun would be pretty interesting. Where it would be like rifle pistol.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'd like to get into like cowboy action shooting,
Yeah, I've thought about that too as well, but the problem with that is being able to get a side by side and get the right loads for it and everything else like that.
Yeah, side by sides aren't fucking cheap anymore. Like I saw a brand new one. I don't remember what. I think it was like G-Force maybe on either it was PSA or Classic, and they wanted like $600 something for it, and I'm like, are you fucking smoking crack? It's a double barrel. That should be only a couple $100.
Yeah, so it's like you're trying to say like handgun versus shotgun in this one. It's like, no, I'm pretty sure the handgun just loses, man.
Yeah, shotgun. I mean, because I kind of get Duke's point on the shotgun, but it's still a viable fucking self-defense tool. Like I said, it's the only one that you can use indoors that will fucking make someone limbless.
Yeah. This was also an interesting story I found the other day. ATF list shows 6 Northeast Ohio stores that sold 25 plus guns traced to crime in a single year. It's like, and does that mean they were actually sold or they were stolen? Because they could have been stolen, dude.
Yep. And
like there was one here the other day. It was 3 guys. Then you could tell even through the masks and stuff, there were 3 young black males is what it was. They broke into 3 different gun shops, a Rural King, I'm trying to think what the other one is. Vance's Outdoors, I think is what it is there. And then it was like a mom and pop place or whatever. And they were saying how the only reason they didn't walk away with a bunch of guns is because they were all apparently stored in like random safes in the back, I guess, or something.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're starting to basically force that in place right now, as them having to lock them up at night or whatever. Then
that's good. And one more thing with the shotgun, wouldn't you agree that out of all the firearms, whether you're pro 2A, anti 2A, whatever, just the action on it, like pump, just racking the pump,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that sound anyone could tell what it is versus like a pistol, rifle. AK would probably be next on the list because AK has a distinct action sound. But would you agree that shotgun is probably the only gun sound that people would know just by hearing it?
Yeah, probably.
Because the bad guy outside your door, if you just racked your shotgun, pumped it, they're going to know it's a shotgun.
Yeah. So apparently the first lady of New Jersey, who was a raging fucking cunt, named Tammy Murphy, this dumb bitch right here, is apparently trying to sail over some dude for the New Jersey Senate race. And what's interesting is the other day, Knox NRA in first New Jersey Senate race ad. So New Jersey First Lady Tammy Murphy, whose husband literally murdered a bunch of people during the 2020 lockdowns, by the way, and she was an accessory to that murder, went after the National Rifle Association in the first ad for her Senate campaign, which should disqualify her on the spot, honestly, on that one, vowing to push for gun reform legislation if elected, so basically push a bunch of anti-2 issues is what it is then. So Murphy's campaign announced the ad titled Cowards in a release on Wednesday showing her standing outside the NRA headquarters in Fairfax, Virginia. Said, quote, "This is the NRA World Headquarters, is where cowards work," she says in the ad. "They know their guns are killing our kids. They don't care." Well, first off, you dumb bitch, the NRA doesn't sell guns. That's number one. Number two, nobody really gives a shit about the NRA because it's literally your fucking punching bag. Because you fuckers are too dumb to actually know that actual state-level organizations exist or other federal organizations exist for that matter.
Yeah.
So,
we need a president, whether it's Trump or whomever. They need to get in there and just get rid of all these fucking bullshit anti-2-way laws. They need to get rid of gun-free zones. I mean, there's just so much shit that if they got rid of, I guarantee would fucking make shit safer, because then more people would start carrying.
Yeah.
Because
okay, she's trying to replace Bob Mendez, the guy who's under investigation for all the gold and shit like they took from overseas.
Yeah, take you for example. Remember that study that just came out about Ohio in
the 3-year time span?
Yeah, since y'all did constitutional carry, and it showed that y'all's crime rate went down, right?
It dropped in all the major cities is what it was.
Exactly. Yeah. That right there is irrefutable proof that if you got rid of these gun-free zone signs and got or zones in general, got rid of all these gun laws and shit, it would make shit safer.
Yeah.
But they don't want to see that. They just want to take everything away so they can turn us into peasants.
Yeah, and then of course you got here the other day, federal judge rules 1.7 trillion spending bill passed by Congress in 2022 was in fact unconstitutional. Imagine my shock.
Yeah, there's my shock face. See my picture? I'm shocked.
Nothing's going to be done with it though.
No.
And we also got second Democrat faces recall effort in crime-ridden city after business owner endures violent robberies. So
it's like Biden's, not mentally competent to stand trial, but yet he's okay to be president still.
Yeah, speaking of which, then we got this article here, which is Biden administration using executive orders to restrict firearms rights. Because of course they are. And they always try to.
Why does that picture look photoshopped?
I don't know. Kind of reminds me of that one with that idiot Howard Dean when he yapped himself out of the race a few decades back now. So, anyway.
Have you seen that one where there's another one of those dudes pretending to be a chick? They were in some kind of... Was it Florida?
Them talking about Parkland?
I think so, yeah, where they stormed out of the fucking meeting, and that black lady was like, I try to respect everybody, but
no. That was in Virginia. So that was Winsome Sears, the lieutenant governor of Virginia, calling out Annika Rome, who was the first quote unquote transgender in the Virginia Senate or whatever. And and I remember this too because it was back in 2018. I had this conversation with my aunt after that midterm election cycle, because you had Cortez get in, you had Omar get in, all those other idiots get in, you had that Rome person get in there, etc. And we were discussing this thing, and I'm like, oh yeah, the media was talking the other day about all these firsts in power right now, and I'm like, just because they're the first of something doesn't mean they're actually qualified for the job. And she's like, no, you were just a bigot and a misogynist and all this other shit. And I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm telling the fucking truth. These people are morons. They have no business being in power.
Exactly.
We got like this whole bitch up about it is what it was. And she also bitched me out too because I said something about we need a second border wall on the U.S.-Canada border too on that one. And she's like, we don't need one on the Mexico border. And I'm like, yes, we do. We need one both on borders.
Yep. But I just like the speech that she gave, after that dipshit stormed out. And she's like demanding, like, I demand respect and everything because I respect everyone here. And it was all over because she said, sir, instead of ma'am. I'm sorry. If you want to do that, that's fine. But you can't demand or expect, everybody to bow down to your bullshit. We don't have
when that came out the other day, I even said, because obviously the thing with Virginia is the only state in this country that I know of for a fact that you only have one-term governors in. So after Glenn Youngkin is done his term here, it's going to be another term of somebody else then. And I was like, when some serious just needs to run for governor then and just run a campaign ad of take no bullshit from the left or something like that and just use that fucking clip and be like, I don't take any bullshit from this Rome bitch. I don't take any bullshit from any of these motherfuckers.
Yep.
And I guarantee she win the fucking landslide.
Oh, no.
Your audio kind of went out there. Okay. Anyway. So to go to the next topic of the day, which we're going to talk about, which is good old Karen Berg. This is a woman in the Kentucky General Assembly who, like I said previously in this episode, she was known for basically pushing anti-2A shit is what it is. But now she's pushing pro-pedophile stuff too. This is Democrat State Senator Karen Berg called pedophiles minor attracted persons and argued that it's good for them to have child sex dolls that they can use. Democrats like Karen are sexualizing kids and defending pedophiles pure evil, criminally stupid, and possibly both. And this was the thing of her.
Completely unfamiliar with child sex dolls. So I had, of course, to Google it last night. I was a little scared to put it in my search engine, but I did. And apparently there is research on the subject. Not much, but there are what they call MAPs, minor attracted persons. And the limited amount of research that's done on these dolls, guys, suggests that they actually, for people who are attracted to minors, that these dolls actually decrease.
It's a fucking lie.
Their
yeah, you can tell this other guy's like, bitch, what the fuck?
Go out and attack children. That it actually gives them a release that makes them less likely to go outside of their home. And
just tell those guys are like, why are we listening to this?
Support the same conclusions for people who were adult attracted using dolls.
Jesus.
That did not diminish their proclivity to engage other people, but for those with the. So I'm just a little concerned.
Yeah, so basically she's defending pedophiles is what it is. And literally every man in the fucking place is like, bitch, why are you still in our fucking chambers? So it's just absolutely disgusting. Then of course you got this one here of this crazy bitch basically shit talking white people and claiming the whites should give their monies to black people like her dumbass. So
also she's racist.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, what do you think about that Karen Berg woman though? Defending pedophiles and claiming that they need to have child sex dolls and stuff like that to fuck.
It's fucking disgusting.
Yeah. And like I said, this woman had a supposed trans child took their own life by firearm, and then she's trying to push her gun control. She's also, I believe, an ex-Mouse Man Action member, if I'm not mistaken.
To the wall.
So
that's like I saw a video right before I joined your chat where this stupid fucking delusional sick bitch in the head was at a fry parade with her 15-month-old child saying that they're they and non-binary. That's what they say and want to go by. Like, motherfucker, it's a 15-month-old child. They don't have a voice yet. They're barely even learning to talk, much less know your bullshit that you're wanting to
Well, that was the big thing with the old Munchausen by proxy thing that people are now calling transhausen by proxy, and it's these people that are trying to make their kids transgender and stuff.
Yeah, it's fucking
it's not
sick.
wrong. And of course, you had this one out of Texas here in the last day or so, which was Brink's armored truck driver robbed this morning in Irvine, Texas. Lots of money in truck, and robber took his pants off. I'm not going to show the video, but needless to say, he literally strips him off his fucking pants. So
yeah, in Irving, that's actually
it's pretty wild shit, man.
Northeast of me. I used to actually go to Irving all the time because I had very good friends that lived there, and me and my buddy, we would take our kayaks and go to the canals all around Irving and just kayak. One of the canals actually goes by the Dallas Cowboy practice stadium, and we banked there and walked up the steep hill, and we were watching the Cowboys practice.
That's cool.
Only about maybe 50 to 60 yards away from us.
Yeah, speaking of the transhausen thing, we got the chances of one mother having two children with a sexual identity disorder is 1 in 9 million. And then you had this crazy bitch in the Kansas State House saying, quote, "My oldest is my transgender daughter, and my youngest is an 11-year-old transgender boy." So she's literally changing the genders of both kids is what it is. And then pushing because this Senate Bill 2791, would basically make it illegal to transition minors in the state of Kansas then. And of course, it's a purple-haired fucking nut too, by the way. And you got all
This
the other
shit needs to
fucking
be
pedophiles on there
federal,
too. Not state by state. Yeah, I agree. And it's just so fucking disgusting. It's not even worth it to watch 2 minutes here, but yeah, it's just like the sick ass woman being like, "My trans kids, you're trying to take out my trans kids," and it's like, no, bitch, you're a fucking lunatic, needs to be arrested for child abuse at this point. End of story. And then speaking of things that actually are kind of funny, actually, that go along with this whole thing to make a little bit of light of this. Man avoids gay stairs by literally crawling up the fucking middle of the thing.
I think I would have walked up the side of the concrete wall.
Yeah, something. Or you just do what that one dude did with the burnout stuff, but then you just like scrape your fucking foot along every one of the stairs or something like that. That's what it is.
Fuck that. I would take a couple gallons of paint and just dumped all over that shit.
Yeah, actually paint there would be more inclined.
In one of those colors in there supposed to be about pedophilia.
So let's see here. So we got multiple pride flags. There's what that is. And I feel like honestly, this is pretty much every person trying to avoid fucking quote unquote Pride Month. But yeah, you got like the whole like trans pride flag stuff in the top there in the middle and everything else like that. And then you got the regular pride flags there. And then you got like a mix of like a bunch of different. Actually, on the side here, there's a bunch of different pride flags and stuff. So you got, from my understanding, I know the top one's supposed to be the original pride flag. That blue, pink, white one is the trans one. I want to say this white, yellow one is either like lesbian pride or something, or one of those ones. And then there's another one that's like specifically for like dudes, like the brown black one I think is like one for, it's like the BIPOC people or whatever that are gay. And then there is another one that's supposed to be, it's like a bear thing for like gay dudes that are like hairy dudes or whatever. It's like a brown and some other colors and stuff like that. So I looked into it one time. It's fucking crazy, dude. There's like 100 different fucking flags for these fucking people is what it is, though.
That's disgusting. I don't know why these places allow this crap.
Yeah, well, in the first place, you're pissing away taxpayer money to do crap like this is what it is.
Exactly. It's fucking... Oh, God, dude, it fucking infuriates me because I guarantee 90%, 99% of the fucking population does not want that money spent to paint bullshit.
Last couple stories of the day, we got Oregon lawmakers move to recriminalize drugs after spike in fentanyl overdose deaths.
No.
Yes, wow. A couple years ago, Oregon decided to decriminalize drug use, perhaps in an attempt to further prove their progressive values. Things did not work out as planned. In addition to a sharp rise in crime and homelessness, Portland and other areas in the state saw a dramatic rise in drug-related deaths, many of them from fentanyl overdoses. So now lawmakers are pushing to recriminalize drug use, and even Democrats are supporting the effort. I find it funny too because my aunt actually lives in Portland area and has a house that she's been trying to sell for like a couple years now, and she's like, I can't even get money out of this place now because it's such a fucking shithole here. Is what it is, and I'm like, you get what you vote for, lady. You've been voting Democrat for 50-something years of your life.
Yeah, because nobody wants to live in that fucking shithole.
Exactly. This one I thought was actually pretty scary though, and this is another one of the exact reason why we need to close our borders and have legitimately military with potential genocide orders in this point in time in history. Massive groups of military-age males from Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, India, Pakistan, Nepal, and more are filmed traveling through the Darien Gap in Panama to be flown into the United States by Biden's regime. And you're talking about hundreds strong at this point and multiple fucking things.
Yeah, how many fucking countries are admitted that they have emptied their prisons and sent their prisoners
a bunch
to
of them,
America?
A bunch of them. And then you got Venezuela the other day specifically saying they're not taking them back at all anymore. And this is why I said before, like, honestly, what we need to be doing is just saying, you know what, fuck you, Venezuela. And just like how we would drop troops out overseas and stuff like that on the planes and shit, do the same exact thing with all their fucking people there. Just put a parachute on their back, tie it to that rope thing, whatever the case be, and just be like, here you go, buddy. And just fucking flip them out into the fucking thing, let the parachute pop open, and they just go down back into fucking Venezuela is where they're at then.
I agree with. I 100% agree.
So, but yeah, it's ridiculous that we're not dealing with the shit that we need to be dealing with it anymore.
But that would cost so much money to fucking do that. I think it would be worth it.
And then going to Breitbart for a couple minutes here, we got Blood Money. Newsom partnered with Triad linked businessman on initiative that brought China Mafia linked businesses to California. Imagine my shock. Newsom's a fucking sellout scumbag. Jesus. X/Twitter reinstitutes rules against misgendering.
What?
And dead naming. What a bunch of shit, dude. Damn it, I'm probably going to end up losing the fucking channel now on there because I've been saying about dudes being dudes and stuff recently. And specifically, like, calling out these trans motherfuckers as, like, guys and stuff. So
now Elon is going back to...
Let's see. It said, Musk platform Twitter X has reinstated woke rules against misgendering and dead naming transgender people after dropping the rules against great fanfare last year. It said some place reports that Twitter X recently updated its abuse and harassment policy page to include a new section explaining its rules against intentionally using the wrong pronouns for a person or referring to them by a name they no longer use, called dead naming by woke LGBTQ radicals. The new, quote, use of proper names and pronouns section states that Twitter X will reduce the visibility of posts that incorrectly gender a person or use their old name rather than their new name they adopted after transitioning. Okay, so it's not like they're going to hit your channel. It's just they're going to, like, basically, essentially, like, shadow ban is what it is there. Yeah.
They can't. It pisses me off because you cannot compel and force somebody else to fucking use your preferred pronouns or whatnot. And people that try that need to have their ass whooped. I'm sorry, it's bullshit. You can't compel and force somebody.
Yeah, it's a violation of freedom of speech at this point, honestly.
Exactly, 100%.
Yeah, so this move comes after X dropped the longstanding prohibition of dead naming, misgendering, of transgender users back in April 2023. At the time, GLAAD CEO Sarah Kate Ellis criticized the change as, quote, the latest example of just how unsafe the company is for users and advertisers alike under the ownership of Elon Musk, who has a history of likening and sharing anti-trans posts. What's funny to me, though, is this Sarah Kate Ellis woman from GLAAD. If you don't know, about 10 years ago, GLAAD went to the fucking movie studios and were like, hey, we know there's not a bunch of gay people and trans people and everything else there in society. We only make up like 1% of the fucking population, but guess what? We want 50% representation in every single movie, TV show, etc. now going forward. That's why you're seeing all this shit pop up in the last 10 years or so. Of these fucking people making front and center every time is what it is in all these shows and movies and everything else like that. Anyways,
yeah,
new policy Twitter X will take action when it hears directly from target of a misgendering or dead naming. Says, given the complexity of determining whether such a violation has occurred, GLAAD senior director Jenna Olson told that place that unfairly places the burden on targets to report their own abuse. However, she acknowledged that explicit policies against dead naming and misgendering are preferable to vague ones that leave violators unsure if they're breaking rules. Said Chai Rakaka, the chick from Libs of TikTok, questioned the change and asked Twitter X user Elon Musk to comment on the situation, to which Musk said the policy only applies to repeated targeted harassment of a particular person. Okay, so that is that. So it's like, oh, if you're just specifically going after somebody and being like, yeah, fuck this guy, fuck this guy, fuck this guy, like 20 different posts or whatever the case be, then it would be actually harassing them, is what it is. Versus
And
like, no, if you're just saying, hey, a man's a man, a woman's a woman kind of thing, like, you're fine, I think is what they're saying there, basically.
It's all stupid. That's like you were saying a while ago about the movies and how they've all gone woke. Look what it's done to Disney. Disney's in the fucking toilet. And nobody wants to see this shit in their fucking TV shows and movies and have it shoved down their throats. And that's why everything's flopping. Because we're tired of it. And that's why I wish I can tell everybody, you vote with your dollar.
Yeah. Well, they talked about it the other day with the whole Bud Light boycott. It cost Anheuser-Busch $1.4 billion in that.
Not enough, in my opinion.
Yeah, no. I find it funny, though, because obviously Secretary of State Frank LaRose here in Ohio, who was running for U.S. Senate, actually has ties to the Anheuser-Busch factories. His family owns like a pretty big stake in distribution for beers and stuff like that from that company.
Mm-hmm.
And it cost him a ton of money is what it was.
Aww.
So, ironically enough, the sad part is he's about the only one in this race that probably will be in the Senate, because Bernie Moreno added himself as an anti-gun sack of shit this week and from years ago. And, yeah, Matt Dolan's a fucking scumbag, too, who's an anti-gun sack of shit, so.
All the motherfuckers are.
And then speaking of sacks of shit in general, CVS and Walgreens to begin selling abortion drugs ahead of high-stakes Supreme Court case.
Jesus Christ.
And then we have El Salvador takes gender ideology content out of schools, like America should.
Yep.
So, let's see. Then we got, what's this one? Dem Senator Chris Murphy, who's a known child molester, claims Trump immigration language disgusting, racist, and xenophobic, says the guy who's been trying to shove anti-gun shit through for over a decade now and should have been had his ass kicked out of the U.S. Senate a while ago. And
I agree.
Been in prison forever is what it is then. So...
with all that shit, like how you just said, El Salvador took it out of their school curriculum. Yeah. They're such fucking hypocrites because, all these parents and people going in front of the boards and all these, people and saying, we need this stuff gone. And they start reading, verbatim and stuff. And they're like, no, there's kids here, using vulgar, language and stuff like that. It's tolerated.
Mm-hmm.
You what? I can't read it aloud and redress my grievances because it's too nasty and vulgar because there's kids about.
You're teaching it to the kids those.
But yeah, it's in the school. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's in the school systems. Y'all are actively teaching them how to do like blowjobs and sexual positions and all this graphic shit that kids don't need to know that young. That's okay, but talking about it in front of adults is not okay.
Well, there was one the other day where I forget what school system it was, but it was in one of these states, and it was them actually. It was an elementary school library that they were allowing 2 picture books to remain inside of that were literally teaching kids about sex and sex orientation and stuff like that. And it's like, why?
Exactly.
But then you realize the people that are running these school boards are a bunch of child molesters, what it is, dude, or pedal enablers anyway at that point.
Yep.
So
I'm surprised they don't have the fucking what's it, Tantra book or whatever it's fucking called. It's the book about all the different positions.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, Kama Sutra.
There you go.
Yeah. Yeah, then we got White House shirks responsibility for Larkin Riley murder. We have done the work. No, you haven't, you fucking lying pricks. So, yeah, then we got hundreds more in Larkin Riley at UGA vigil. Kathy Hunkel won't call for tougher NYC sanctuary law. don't want to highlight migrants who commit crimes. This bitch needs to be literally brought up on crimes against humanity charges because she was lieutenant governor of the state of New York when Andrew Cuomo helped. She and Andrew Cuomo both helped kill a shitload of New Yorkers back in 2020 through various means.
Have you seen? They did a visual for that Bushnell dumb son of a bitch. I know his name. I don't care.
I know. I talked about it at the very beginning of this episode.
Did you?
Yeah.
How they're calling him a fucking hero and a martyr.
Yep. And they were also burning their uniforms in solidarity with this douchebag.
It's fucking retarded. How is no?
Well, not only that, but then the guy has ties to Antifa, has ties to local chapters of various hate groups here in Ohio.
He's pro Hamas.
Yeah, he was just a scumbag piece of shit in general, man. He was an infiltrator, is what it was.
But yet he was in the United States Air Force. Well,
that's the thing, and I don't know if you remember this some years back now. There was another one of these guys who they were, I think they were graduating from West Point or something, if I'm not mistaken. And this asshole was fucking popped up a Communist Manifesto in his hands.
Jesus Christ.
Uniform. And then it was like I think that was back in like 2018 or 2019 that happened. And then it was within a month or two of that, you had then Congressman Keith Ellison, who's now the Attorney General of Minnesota. And then that's when Ilhan Omar flipped to his congressional seat, is what it was there, to take over. And yeah, you have these motherfuckers who are legitimately fucking off and are just screw jobbing people is what it is then. It's absolutely disgusting, man. They're fucked up in the head, and it's like you're openly pushing communist ideology in this country, and I'm fucking sick and tired of it is what it is.
Amen. That's like that Bergdahl piece of shit. Do you think if that happened now, do you think he'd be considered a hero?
You have to remind me on that one.
Bo Bergdahl?
I recognize the name, I just don't remember what his thing was, is what it was.
He was active duty, he was overseas, and he left his post and went and joined joined
the enemy or whatever.
He joined the enemy, and a lot of there were several people that died in the search of this guy.
No, I remember a few of those guys like that. I remember who was it? It was the one football player guy, Pat something or other.
Pat Tillman. That was done by Fracture Side.
Who they claimed died in friendly fire, but yeah, it was definitely them killing that guy.
Yeah, it was Fracture Side.
Yeah.
They said he was killed by the enemy, but no, he was killed by friendly fire.
Yeah. Well, supposedly he was killed by friendly fire. I wouldn't be surprised if he was killed because he actually found something and they were trying to cover up is what it was.
Well, maybe the story goes that his unit was patrolling, and there's a lot of trigger happy people, or at least a couple, and then they came upon what they thought was the enemy, and they started taking fire, and they were returning fire, but it was another unit that they just, because it was new, and I guess they were trigger happy is what they were saying, and he was killed by Fracture Side.
Jeez. Yeah.
I should have the DVD that tells the story. I think it's called the Pat Tillman story.
Yeah, it's a sad situation all the way around.
Oh, definitely. He left a multi-million-dollar contract in the NFL to serve his country, just for his country to kill him. Yeah.
Well, I mean, you look at a lot of these guys, though, that became, like, famous after the fact or whatever. Like, specifically, Elvis was one of those guys that he served in the military before he went and got fame.
Oh, yeah. Well, no, he was famous, but he also...
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I'm just pointing out, like, there's other guys that did that stuff either before they got fame or right after they got fame is what it was.
Yeah, and there's also been, several servicemen that became famous after they got out. There's one country singer, trying to blank on his name, but after he got out of the Marines, he was on American Idol and became a famous singer.
So I actually found an interesting one out the other day because I was watching the movie Curly Sue for the first time in years. Apparently, the woman that played the little girl in that movie was actually on The Voice some years ago.
Really?
Yeah. And she apparently won, I guess. Yeah, and I thought that was very interesting. I was like, that's because the thing is, a lot of those child actors is you never really hear about them after the fact, or they lose their fame, is what it is.
Yeah.
Or
That's
if you
like,
do, or if you do now, it's basically because it's like, oh yeah, I've been preyed upon by Hollywood child molesters, basically, and it's like, well, that's terrible. But we don't need that happening again.
that's like I can't remember his is it Zachary? I think it's his name, Zachary Ty Bryan or whatever.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
He was the oldest boy on Home Improvement.
Yep.
I saw a video of him a couple days ago where he was arrested on DUI and he was in the back of the squad car.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, yeah, that motherfucker looks like he's been rolling on drugs for his entire adult life.
It's not surprising.
And he told the cop, you know, oh, I'll get out just like I always do. And the cop was like, how are you going to get out? I'm going to call my mom and dad.
The guy who played Goldberg in the Mighty Ducks movies, he was actually for some years. Sean,
he was homeless.
His name is. Yeah, he actually, and I was watching something here recently because he's like 2 or 3 years sober now, is what it is. And I'll tell you what, dude, he has
looking a little better.
Like, you want to talk about one of the best recovery stories in this country, and a man who needs to have like a documentary made about his life and stuff. Like, that's what we need. We need more stories like that, dude. Honestly, where he lost everything and how he came back from it.
Yep, I agree. Even Macaulay Culkin, he was on drugs for many fucking years, and he looked horrible, dude. I mean, like, there's just so many actors that have just fallen into drugs because either they were, you know, physically abused or they were preyed upon by, you know, garbage human being that should not be alive.
Yeah.
You know, there's reasons why they end up, you know, homeless or they end up on drugs. That's like you remember, I forget her name in the movie, but she played on American Pie.
Okay.
She was kind of like the weird friend of the blonde chick from the first one.
I know who you're talking about. I can't remember what her name is offhand. Yeah.
I can't remember her name, but she was homeless for a while.
Interesting.
Because she was on one of the talk shows, and she was talking about how she was homeless for several years.
Huh.
But then she bounced back and started acting again, and then you know, turned her life around. Because I think she was also on The Orange is the New Black.
Oh yeah. I know who you're talking about now. Yep. Yeah, she was decent actress. Yeah, she's been in a few things here and there. She was on that show, obviously, and then she's been on a few other different series and stuff over the years.
Yeah, they actually she had her own show, I think, on HBO here a couple years ago. It was kind of weird. It was kind of like a it was kind of like a Russian nesting doll or some shit. Is kind of like the premise. Let me see if I can find it real quick.
But anyway, there is one thing I do call the Timothy Busfield effect, which is actor Timothy Busfield, who was in, I think he played the brother-in-law in the Field of Dreams movie, and he also played a bunch of other stuff over the years. And if you look into this man, it seems like he was in a lot of movies with kids, and the movies he was in with kids, a lot of those kids are now child molesters themselves. And it kind of makes me wonder if Mr. Busfield is not a pedophile himself, if that'd be the case, and when molested all these kids, what would be then?
If I remember correctly, I think it's actually kind of rare for someone that was, you know, suffered that horrendous act, you know, being molested, that end up turning into molesters themselves. It's quite uncommon. But that chick's name is Natasha Lyonne.
Yeah. I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
And she had her own show a couple of years ago called Russian Doll.
Oh, okay.
Where I guess she was kind of like I don't fucking remember. It was a weird show. I only watched a couple episodes.
Yeah, a lot of those are weird ass series. So.
But yeah, it's just, I always thought, for years it'd be cool to be an actor and stuff like that. But just hearing all these stories as I've gotten older, about Corey Haim, Corey Feldman, or, just the list goes on and on. It is fucking sad that these kids go through this shit. That's like shit. I saw one the other day. It was this black guy that was a child star talking about how he had sexual relations with many different people, like Bow Wow, Lil Bow Wow.
Yeah.
I can't remember if he said Jay-Z or not, but one that he said it was Usher. And the way he said it was just disturbing because he said Usher was a gusher. I'm like, why the fuck you say that?
Yeah.
I mean, I get what you're saying, but I mean, it's fucking horrible, but it's also kind of nasty too.
Yeah, it's disgusting. Yeah, I know there's been a lot of like just so much disturbing shit coming out with a lot of these people now, and the sad part is like when you start looking into a lot of these kids and you realize like the drug use is directly correlation to them just wanting to basically escape from, remembering is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And it just makes you sad that we're allowing this shit to continue to go on every year in this country. And I'm not saying like we, because obviously neither one of us can do anything about it, but yeah, I mean like, like obviously our government is so fucked too because they're involved in this shit as well. Where if they wanted to, they could easily be like, no, dude, like we're, investigating the shit out of Hollywood. Like we're taking these fuckers down once and for all is what it is.
They're actively advocating this shit and allowing it to happen.
Oh yeah, they are.
Look at these sick motherfuckers that are men trying to become women and they're still holding office, like that one that in the fucking military.
Yep.
The one we talked about earlier in Virginia. I mean, it's just disgusting. We shouldn't allow these people to hold office.
There was another one too. It was some person that's supposed to be like the first trans fucking military general or whatever now, or some stupid bullshit like that. I'm just like, no, you're not. Get the fuck out of here, bitch.
Yeah,
and that's the problem right now. It's fucking
people that are sick in the head should not be holding any office.
Well, and this is why I've been pro auto disqualifiers to begin with, because like most of these fucking people have no business even being around children at all, man.
I agree.
And yet we're allowing them to continue to be around kids, and it's like, what the fuck, man?
Yep.
Like that Karen Berg woman, like when she's sitting there openly being like, oh yeah, we need to have these fucking sex dolls for a bunch of child molesters. And it's like, and you see all these guys and they're just like, bitch, like what the fuck? And no, it's like you need to stand up from you need to stop being a lazy bitch, stand up from your fucking position of the chair you're sitting in there, dude, and rush over to her ass and yank her out of that fucking General Assembly and throw her out the fucking door is what it is, and be like, bitch, go away, you're not part of us anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Be like, you're fired, fuck off. And I guarantee that would do a lot. And all it would take was one, and I think that's the problem. There's not enough good men anymore in this country who want to sit there and do their fucking job properly like that and remove these pieces of shit by force is what it is then.
Yeah. I wish
so they're just allowing it to go on.
These law enforcement agencies would fucking step in and do their jobs and start arresting these motherfuckers.
And I've noticed that too. Like, this is one thing we did see quite a bit under Trump that we haven't seen jack shit of under Biden's fake ass regime. Like, you basically had it go the opposite way now. Where it was under Trump, you had a bunch of these motherfuckers getting arrested for child abuse and or doing like child sex things and stuff like that. That's what it was. And arresting, hundreds of guys at a time and stuff like that, or hundreds of people at a time for that matter, because some of them were like obviously women that were being prostituted and stuff like that as well, or even being abusers themselves for that matter. And now it's just the opposite of that entirely, where it's like, nope, none of them are being arrested at all anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It's just sad. It's very sad.
It really is. I'm sure you've probably seen it, but I tweeted something earlier before I got on the chat where this guy was commenting, did like a stitch where this one freak was like saying my pronouns aren't optional, they're mandatory or some shit like that.
Oh
And
yeah, I think I've seen that person.
And he starts, singing in a song about it. It's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, I've seen that one. It's funny. That's been going around for a few months now, if nothing else.
Oh yeah, it has.
Yeah, that's a good one. And that's the thing, and I think that people don't realize that like respect is earned, it's not given.
Exactly.
If you want somebody to be like, oh, I'll respect like what you want to be called or whatever the case be because you're a friend of mine or whatever, like maybe I will do that. But the thing is, even if you're a friend of mine, like I'm probably not gonna put up with that shit. I mean, hell, I have a fucking second cousin right now who now wants to consider themselves a trans man. I got into with my sister actually, at my mom's funeral for of all places. Because I was like, oh, there's our cousin Ashley. And she's like, that's not his name anymore. And I'm just like, shut up, Chris.
I'd have been like, yeah, because that's what it goes on the birth certificate.
Yeah. Like, even her fucking dad was like, bro, like, no, you're my fucking daughter. Like, I'm going to call you what I'm going to fucking call you because that's what we named you. And again, this is one of these kids that went to college, and the college fuck is what it was.
Yep, that's the sad part. They indoctrinated. Does her mom placate it and advocate for it?
They were both against it.
Mm.
They were both totally against it. They were because they didn't even realize what was going on, and they're just like, what the hell, man?
That's why I don't advocate people going to college.
Yep.
If anything, they should go to a trade school.
Yep, exactly.
I mean, look at Charlie Kirk. He didn't go to college. And he's better off for it. And he's more knowledgeable by not going to college than he would have went.
Yeah, Tim Pool's another one of these guys that never went, and he was able to make a fucking fortune out of his shit.
Yeah, you can go back.
I think technically he did go for a minute, but then he was like, it was after that he left or whatever, and was like, no, I don't need to go to college.
Well, you can even go back further. You know who Bobby Flay is?
Yes.
A famous chef.
Yep.
For millions and millions of dollars.
Yeah, he's actually married. I don't know if he's still married to her, if he was married to her. He was married to the one woman that was on Law and Order SVU, that was one of the prosecutor people on that show.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Stephanie Marsh, I think is what her name was or something.
My point is, he dropped out of high school. He only had a 9th grade education.
Mm-hmm.
But look where he is. I mean, that's not the norm. It's abnormal, but
still.
Yeah,
for sure.
It shows that it's not necessarily a good thing if you go to school, like college, especially.
Well, hell, I mean, look at me. They fucked me out of my ability to even keep taking courses, and now I'm like almost $25,000 in college loan debt, which almost 15,000 of which, or actually over 15,000 of which, is just fucking interest. So I know I can never pay back, and it's like, yeah, like I have no problem paying back that like 9,000 something principal, but like I'm not giving you fuckers a dime over that, dude. So that's why I'm trying to look for some kind of way to get some debt consolidation for him to help me out on that one, and be like, hey, I have no problem paying back this principal at some point this year when I get the money, but like I'm not paying back too much after that, dude.
All right.
And even the principal at this point, I don't think I should know the whole thing of, because again, a lot of those courses that they claim that they cut my funding for because I failed them or whatever the case be, like I didn't get an education for those. I never learned anything in those courses is what it was.
Yep.
So, minus that, it would be probably like about 7,000, honestly. But anyway,
like I said, trade schools would be my go-to.
Yeah, if I had thought better of it and I'd realized my own, because obviously that was pre me being diagnosed as high functioning autistic and stuff. Like if I had realized I was that way or whatever, like I definitely would have been better off in like a trade kind of situation there, and been way better off in the long run. But unfortunately, I did not know these things, so it's kind of like damn if you do, damn if you don't kind of thing is what it is there. So
yeah, that's actually what the college I went to was a trade school, and associates in welding,
Mm-hmm.
That's where I went to EMT school.
Mm-hmm.
It was a trades college.
Yeah. Yeah, and these places, and I think honestly, and I've said this before, like, like one thing I think we need to invest more in is not even just trade schools themselves, it's actually just bringing back trades into even middle schools at this point,
Mm-hmm.
and giving these, young men a chance to actually get ahead in life, because unfortunately, a lot of guys don't learn the way that these chicks learn, because that's the whole reason that, schools are set up the way they are, is to fucking make women get ahead further and stuff like that. And meanwhile, you can have these young boys that, they're going to be rambunctious. You don't put them on fucking ADHD meds or whatever the case, because just being dudes. And you put them in a fucking welding class, or you put them in a wood shop or something like that, and let them get that energy out and whatnot, building something, or even auto shop for that matter, fixing up a car or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to have well-adjusted young men in this country, and you're actually going to have very much alpha males again in this nation.
That's like when I was, going through my welding school. Our shop was in the front, to just like if you're standing at the bay door. To the left of us was the AC and heating portion where you could, learn that trade.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had an outdoor shop in the back. And then connected to that open lot, you go through another bay door and there's automotive.
Yeah.
So in some instances, we kind of work together, doing different things. Like the mechanic shop, they had like this giant fucking sandblasting booth where you could literally put a trailer or car in, and you would have to shovel the sand to put it back in the container.
Mm-hmm.
And we would weld shit up for the automotive department. They'd let us use the blasting bay. I mean, we just kind of all work together, learning different shit with each other, and
Mm-hmm.
it was awesome. It was great.
Yeah,
I learned more doing all the trades than I did actually in my academic portion to get my degree.
Yeah, and that's the thing, and I think, and that's really the issue entirely with people like me, as someone who is autistic and stuff. We don't learn by being told or being taught something by books and stuff like that. We learn hands-on in most cases.
That's the best way I've always learned is hands-on. You tell me and show me how to do something one time, and I got it.
And it's the same exact way with a lot of men, for that matter. That's how our brains are wired to function, is with that kind of thing. It's not meant to be something where it's like, oh yeah, go out there and be, do a 5,000 word essay or whatever the fuck it is.
Yeah.
It's like, no, dude, like, teach us the better way of doing stuff, and we can get things done a lot better is what it is then.
I 100% agree. A lot of times in those boring classes, I would fall asleep. Because it was just like hearing, what's his face from Charlie Brown. You know what I mean?
I know for a fact that's why I failed geometry, was because, well, first off, that teacher was an idiot to begin with, because he only really wanted to be there to do coaching stuff for the football team, and he had no business being in the actual classroom. That's what it was. But the entire point is, though, it's like, yeah, you had, me there trying to actually learn something, and him just doing nothing as a teacher and stuff. And then people wondered why I failed that course. And it's like, it's not that hard to figure out, dude. Like, when you're not teaching the class properly, you're not actually giving us, like, instruction of how to do things at all. And then expecting us to just learn on our own is what it is.
Yeah, coaches don't make the best teachers at all.
No,
you get some outliers out there that are great, but for the most part, coaches should not teach. And I think it's stupid that in order for them to be a coach, they have to teach at least one class.
Yes, it is dumb. And then on top of all that, you then had like a really, really fucked up situation then, where I think that's the reason why I ended up failing out of high school then, actually, in most parts, because of that whole reasoning there. And it's very sad. And it's, the thing is, though, like, and this is the thing, like, I buckled down a couple years after that, and this was the year I would have graduated high school legitimately, that I got my GED. And I worked my fucking ass off for like a good 4 to 6 months to get that GED. And it was one of the proudest moments my mom had with me. And there's that one picture of us the day I got my equivalent and walked a stage. And it was probably one of the best days of my life, honestly. And she was there for that. So.
Yeah, I agree. I actually have, because during my graduation ceremony, they actually filmed it. And I still have my
ours was put on public access.
DVD or whatever you want, DVD of me graduating, and
yeah.
I've watched it quite a few times in the recent years, just because the camera pans to the parent section, and I can actually see my mom sitting there,
Yep.
you know,
yeah.
happy to be there, happy to see me, you know, graduating, because there was a handful of times, dude, where I almost dropped out of school because I hated it so much until we moved to where I graduated. And yeah, just seeing my mom proud of me, you know, graduating, you know, not only do I have the memory, but I have something visual that I can watch and see her proud of me, even though she's now gone.
Yep. Yeah, and that's the way I feel about it too. It's just, you know, unfortunately, people don't realize that.
To actually have something you can watch to help recall that memory visually, it's priceless.
Mm-hmm. All right. Yeah, so I end up losing internet the other day for about an hour almost.
Because of the hack?
I think so. Because it was working fine, and then all of a sudden it just went out. So I don't know what the fuck happened there.
But you know that board from the movie Cabin in the Woods? Like, what do you got for what's going to happen and shit like that?
Yeah.
What do you think's on the board now that could happen?
Oh, Jesus. Anything and everything, dude.
Like, what would you guess would be next? I mean, I didn't have another spy balloon on my bingo card.
So, if I had to guess right now, let's see, it's March of 2024 right now. So we're going in heavily to election season right now, and a lot of primaries and stuff like that. I think assassination attempts, honestly, in the next 2 months.
I could see that.
And whether that be attempts or whether that be successful things, I think here's my thing. I'm going to lay this out flat right now. Obviously, it would be done by the Democrats, number one. They would go after Trump first, and then they would probably try to put some kind of fake hit on Biden or Kamala or somebody like that, most likely, as being like, oh, no, we're not doing this. Look, they try to take one of us out too, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And, yeah, from there, it would just be a giant fucking shit show back and forth. And, oh, my God, man, I don't even know anymore.
Like you said, I think anything and everything would be on the table.
Yeah, it's going to get bad. It's going to get real bad real quick is what's going to be. And
the Democrats are going to do anything and everything they can to hold on to power.
Yes, they are. But yeah, it's going to get so much worse before it ever gets better, I think, unfortunately. And
is Hillary running again?
Huh?
Is Hillary running again?
I don't think not. As far as I'm aware, not yet. So
to have like a repeat of 2016 where it was Trump and Hillary.
Yeah, no, as far as my understanding is, they're basically just trying to jerk Biden off at this point and being like, oh no, it's going to be the Trump-Biden rematch from 2020. So, I don't know. Maybe it will be, maybe it won't be. But either way, it's just, yeah, it's fucking infuriating is what it is. But yeah, then we had this photo, though, from Georgia, where it was hundreds more in Larkin Riley's murder in vigil. So tons of UGA students gathered Thursday to mourn the murder of Larkin Riley, along with the death of Wyatt Banks, a UGA freshman who reportedly died by suicide, said in a sea of hundreds of people, not one person at the University of Georgia community was alone in their grief. So the students and the campus community gathered in mourning on Monday, February 26th, at the Tate Plaza to honor Wyatt Banks and Larkin Riley's lives. So the vigil was jointly hosted by UGA's Kappa Sigma fraternity and Alpha Chi Omega sorority chapters. Brothers and sisters to Banks and Riley. So Riley attended UGA until transferring to Augusta University's College of Nursing in Athens in the spring of 2023, where she made the dean's list before she was ultimately killed, obviously. Said Larkin was an amazing daughter, sister, friend, and overall person in general. Her love for the Lord was exemplified in every aspect of her life. Her obituary read, a GoFundMe for her in honor of her has since received more than $125,000 in donations. Should be fucking 10 times that, honestly, to millions. So no word can express the pain and heartache of Larkin's family and friends are experiencing. The GoFundMe post read, she was a wonderful friend, sister, daughter, etc. Who touched the lives of everyone around her. Her infectious smile and contagious laugh lit up the room she entered. So Brett reported Larkin Riley became yet another name in the already growing list of American citizens who have reportedly died at the hands of illegal aliens inside the United States. So in the wake of Larkin's death, it was later revealed that Clark County, Georgia Sheriff John Q. Williams, representing Athens, said he opposed turning illegals over to ICE for deportation, lamenting it promotes, quote, a culture of fear. Said we can't help with a culture of fear in our community and expect the citizens to respond and help us in situations because the fact is that a lot of law enforcement is based around community support. If we are antagonizing people because of they are what undocumented or underdocumented, then we've built the fear in them that they're not likely to come to us when they need our help and anything else. Fuck you, dude. That sheriff is a piece of shit. He needs to be in prison right now as an accessory to Larkin's death.
Mm-hmm.
And mind you, people have already said about this asshole and how many FOIA records requests, etc. could be done on this son of a bitch that would already prove that he was actually in cahoots with these fucking criminals then. And I think it'd be a lot, honestly. So, yeah, I wouldn't put it past him to be a fuckton right now.
I know I've seen some videos and stuff where a lot of these PDs and stuff are making it hard or actually impossible to do FOIA requests.
Yeah.
And they redact a lot of shit. And I'm like, why the fuck are you redacting anything? Exactly. We have the right as the public to know what y'all are doing.
Yeah, it's just a bunch of shit entirely.
So it's them literally hiding their fucking criminal activities and shit.
Yeah.
And getting away with it.
Well, it's like the same exact thing with those cops that we showed in that video earlier, where it was the young white guys finding that gun in the thing, and they're just like questioning them as if they're the fucking suspects. And it's like, what the fuck, dude?
Yeah.
It's like, no, they're the guys who found a fucking firearm. It's like, was it one of y'all's firearms that dropped out of your fucking holster, and that's why you want it back? Is what it is.
Why would they call the cops on that if that was the case?
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I found a gun. I don't know whose gun it is, but it's not my gun, kind of thing. Like, nah, bro. Like, go off, cops.
It makes you wonder, why those people even bother to call the cops anymore when they find a gun and just not keep it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and the thing is, too, it's like, I don't know, man. It's hard to say.
I get
why you could have like a fucking throwdown weapon too entirely on that one. So
yeah, I mean, I get why they do it because, what if they were
trying to do the right thing?
Murder cases? Yeah, they're trying to do the right thing, but they're getting in trouble for it.
Yeah, railroaded or whatever the case be. Yeah.
It's like damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Exactly, it's fucked up. And I think that's almost the point in some cases, is that's what they want. They want people to be not trusting or whatever the case be. And then it's like, and what's funny to me too, is it goes back to honestly that sheriff there in Georgia who's bitching about, trust in society and trust in police and stuff like that. It's like, yeah, dude, well, when you are allowing illegals to remain on U.S. soil who are actually criminals in this fucking country, and then you're acting like they're part of your community, it's like, no, they're not, dude, because they don't even belong in this country to begin with.
They became criminals when they crossed the border illegally.
Exactly. So it's like, what the fuck? It's like I don't even know. It's like you're beating your head against a fucking wall to like understand the reasoning or the rationale of these fucking people, when there really isn't any, is the sad part. So, yeah, it's just disgusting is what it is. And I have no idea what the solution is to it, honestly, if there even is one for that matter. Because right now it seems like there really isn't one anymore. Except maybe just, carry every day and make sure you're armed and know every possible exit to wherever the fuck you're at. And if that be the case and you know exactly where you're at, you can escape or whatever the case be and save your life, or, be the person that stops some crazy ass motherfucker trying to do a massacre in your state or your country or whatever it is here. And be that hero. That's what you should do, honestly. If it means just saving your life and the life of one of those people you love is what it is there. So, anyway. I think that's about it for today, honestly. I got some stuff I got to do here and working on a few things. So, I'm debating if I want to do Stand Your Ground Saturday tomorrow or not. I haven't actually thought of if I'm going to do anything yet or not on that one. It all depends how things go because, I didn't think we were going to do the last chat there. And then, of course, you had NEA kind of decided to just drop out last night and not do anything. So, I had to do a little bit of something there is what it is.
Yeah, what happened with that? So, I didn't even realize he didn't do a show.
I have no fucking clue. No, I have not heard a damn thing about it. I've not heard anything about it. I just know he didn't go live last night, and then I know Duke supposedly took over for about 45 minutes, and I was doing my own chat at the same time. So,
yeah, I went to bed early last night. I had a bad headache, so I missed everything.
Yeah, I haven't been feeling the greatest either, and I think for me it's a lot of the barometric pressures and stuff like that going on right now because there is a lot of fucking like the way that this weather is changing every couple of days here in the state anymore. It's getting ridiculous. We had like 50 or 60 the other day, and then the last couple of days has been real shitty, and then legitimately here earlier today it was like 50 again. I'm just like, dude, Jesus, come on. So,
well, that's like
definitely
here
getting messed up here.
It's like almost 3 days where actually less 3. Couple of days we were like mid 70s. One day I think it got up to like 90. And then the fourth day it was a high of like 50 and a low of like almost freezing temps. I'm like, fucking sick of this bullshit.
Yeah, it's getting bad.
And we didn't even have the winter at all here. I mean, yeah, it got cold, and a couple of times at night it got really cold, but we didn't get any snow. We got sleet.
Yeah, we've had a weird winter here so far too. It's just like,
and it's crazy because the Farmer's Almanac predicted to have a bad winter.
Yeah,
I think it's because the government's fucking with the weather too much.
Yeah, probably. Well, I think it's that, what is it, chaff or whatever they call it now, where it looks like it's fucking storm or whatever, but it's actually like some weird aluminum shit they're dumping onto us is what it is then.
Yeah, it's like that last real bad snowstorm that swept across the United States. There was many videos of people grabbing that snow and melting it, and there was like magnetic particles in the melted snow because they were dragging a magnet with it.
Fucking crazy, man.
It's like, why are they doing this? Why are they trying to fucking kill everybody?
Yeah, well, and I think unfortunately it goes back a lot to what we've discussed in the past about people like Jacob Rothschild and the Bilderberg Group. It's them trying to create some kind of a weird situation where they want transhumanism is what it is. And the only way to achieve that is to basically destroy humanity because you are demons, because you are, inhabited by the devil's children, etc. There's what it is.
I just don't understand them that they're doing this because they're literally destroying like their own backyards, their own food supply. You know what I
Well,
mean?
and that's the thing. You assume
own
it's their
water
own food
supply.
supply when in reality it's not. They have their own backup food supplies wherever the fuck. And it's just our food supplies what they're destroying. They're trying to take out good is what it is. It's evil trying to destroy good right now.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. We're literally in a fight of good versus evil right now.
Yeah,
Or
unfortunately, evil is somewhat taking the upper hand right now in some cases.
Yeah, good will prevail in the end.
I hope so. I hope so.
No, it will.
Yeah.
I have faith, and I know it will.
Yeah.
It may take a while, but we'll win.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. The thing is, though, it's the trials and tribulations that come before it, and how many of those can we all take is what it is. You know, some of us can't take much more is what it is, man.
I hear you.
So I'm surprised we haven't popped something off at this point already, honestly. And I think, again, the only reason that a bunch of people haven't just independently gone together is what it is because they're not sure if everybody else is going to be having their backs.
Yep, nobody wants to be first.
Yeah.
January 6th made sure of that.
Yeah, yeah. As Honda says, you don't want to be that tall blade of grass when the fucking mower comes by.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think, unfortunately, we have really become a society of feather throwers, where there's not a whole lot of people left to throw the tar, is what it is. Which is also a sad situation too, for that matter.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I'm ready to fucking throw the tar, honestly, at this point. But I don't know if there's going to be a bunch of feather throwers behind me or not is the problem. So
I understand.
And it's like, why would I risk my life and my, well-being for nothing? Is the way I feel about it, honestly. So I don't know, man. Hopefully something will change very soon and it won't really be an issue then, and we can just start dealing with things accordingly and have a better country to have our kids grow up into. And if we're not the generation that's going to be the strong men, maybe they will be. Who knows? But I don't know. I see something changing very quickly is what it is here, and I think it's only a matter of time before we finally see that change become reality in this country. And when it does, I think there's going to be a lot of people who aren't going to be ready for it. I think there's going to be a lot of people who will be ready for it. And I believe we'll definitely see a return to some kind of normality is what it is, where all the insanity that we've seen come forward so far will end up being taken over by the good and the righteous and everything else like that. And I really hope it does not lead to what I think it's going to lead to, because if it does, it'll be exactly what the left has basically tried to will into place right now, which is Handmaid's Tale futures, dystopian nightmaric futures, fascist dictatorships, etc. there. And the thing is, though, it's like, I think, unfortunately, the way things are going right now, we almost need that to be a thing for just a teeny little bit of time is what it is there, like a few days, a week maybe or something. But the problem is, if you let it happen at all, it's never going to go away then. Or it'll have to be overthrown then is what it is. So,
yep.
And I don't think a lot of us have that kind of fight in us to be able to, put something in place and then get rid of that thing too as well. It would be multiple generations down the line that would have to finish that one off for us. So
You're not wrong.
Yeah. And I don't know. It's just, and I honestly think that's some of the reason why we haven't had an actual civil war, some kind of conflict pop up yet, is because a lot of people like myself realize it's going to be, a 10-year or more war of attrition that we're going to be fighting. And we don't have that fight in us is what it is to do that time period. I think most of us could go a year, maybe 2 at most. But if we knew it's going to be given 10, 20 years, whatever, it's like, nah, dude, we're now. So, and it's unfortunate.
Yeah, go as long as you can.
Yeah. Well, like I said, with me, I know exactly how much time I have before I'm completely crippled in a bed, and it's not that long. So,
I kind of feel the same way, man. That's why
I
I'd
know
rather
physically
shit
is
go
what it is,
down
though.
now. Why I able body not to do something.
Well, that's why I've said many times, if something does pop off in this country, like, I will go fucking full bore for as long as I can, a few weeks there, whatever it's going to be, and then after that, it's going to be, I'm tapping out basically. So,
Yeah, I
and of course
understand.
of course, like I said earlier, you got dumbass Biden talking about now we're doing fucking airdrops to Gaza here in the next couple of days or weeks, whatever it's going to be now.
For what?
Fucking aid.
Jesus Christ.
Taxpayer money being pissed away to give these fuckers a bunch of free fucking meals, etc. there.
So they're literally funding both sides of the war. Gotcha.
Of course they are. Of course they are.
Jesus Christ.
Yep. They have, and they will. And as long as we allow it to happen, they'll continue on.
I'm fine with sending aid and whatnot to Israel because my Christian values and Christian beliefs. Israel is God's chosen people, so.
But yeah, my biggest problem is it's all of it really. It's them trying to fuck with us. It's them trying to, do whatever.
Our money away.
And the worst part of it is, honestly, and it goes back to this really, is from my understanding, I guess there was something popping off about like what they called flower. It was a hashtag flower massacre was trending on Twitter last night, and it was them trying to blame. I don't know if it was Israel or who it was supposed to be, but I guess there was like some kind of foreign aid trucks, like UN aid trucks or something like that, that were being sent to someplace, Gaza or the Strip or whatever it was there. And it was full of like sacks of flour for people to grab, and people were running out and trying to grab it or whatever the case be. And it was kind of like the beginning of that movie Black Hawk Down, where you just had like a bunch of rebels like firing upon it, except I guess in this case it was supposed to be like Israeli soldiers or military or whatever the hell it was that were like actually doing the gunning down of these people and stuff like that. And I don't know if that's true or not. I haven't looked far enough into it to see if it actually is legit or not. Nothing would surprise me. It was all a bunch of fucking propaganda bullshit at this point. And I think that's the problem. So many people are so sick and tired of all the propaganda crap from these people.
Yep.
And it's like, at what point do we just say, you know what, fuck them all, really is what it is. And that's where I'm at right now. I'm like, fuck everybody, dude. I don't care which side it is, if they're righteous or not. Like, fuck everybody is what it is, man. Don't help nobody. We help ourselves first. We fix our own shit here.
I've been saying that
until
for
that's
years.
done, we don't do anything to anybody. Don't do anything for anybody.
We need to close our borders indefinitely.
We don't fucking fund NATO anymore.
Keep all the money here.
Mm-hmm.
Fix America. Take care of Americans before we do anything. It's kind of like when you fly on the plane. As a parent, you put the oxygen mask on yourself first before you help your children, because you got to help yourself.
Yeah, you got yourself
help
first.
Yeah, you got to save you before you can save them. Let me ask you a question.
What's
that? I thought of this earlier, but we got to talking and topic changed. You remember Jean-Benet Ramsey, right?
Yeah, I actually had this conversation with my uncle the other day about her death.
Have you heard the conspiracy theory that she didn't really die?
I have not heard that conspiracy theory. That's weird.
And she became Katy Perry. That Katy Perry is Jean-Benet Ramsey.
What?
Because
that's just crazy talk. Get out of here.
Katie's parents' names are the same parents' names as Jean-Benet Ramsey, and there's a lot of similarities and stuff. And
that's super weird, man. I
have
not heard that at all.
I saw something about it about a week ago, and they kind of went in depth to prove it. And they're saying that Katy Perry.
Yeah, no, I haven't heard that one at all. That's really strange.
Is Jean-Benet Ramsey.
That's super weird.
They were also doing side-by-side pictures of her, and I'm not an expert or nothing, but I mean, there's a lot of similar features that
is weird. That is weird.
Kind of can't support that theory.
Yeah, I don't know. That would be
I'm not saying I believe it or not. I'm just
because to me that would be so much of a stretch, honestly. Like the fact that you'd have to have like so many people involved in a cover up like that, and it's like, yeah, I just don't buy that, honestly.
Who's to say it didn't happen though?
Yeah, I mean it's possible, but like
anything's possible in this world, dude.
Then again, it could also be a clone. You know, I believe
Maybe.
more clone technology for that matter. Honestly, I mean, hell, look at there's a video I was watching yesterday of Taylor Swift riding a giant serpent around and stuff like that. And dude, I'll tell you what, like that girl looks exactly like that cult leader guy's daughter.
Yeah,
like, it is fucking disturbing. It is so disturbing. And the only thing I could think on that one is it has to be something where she definitely 100% is either a clone of his kid or she is definitely the fucking succubus reincarnation of her ass then.
I mean, I wouldn't say they look like 100% identical.
They look similar enough to where, and it could be something where she's a daughter of her for all the fuck we know.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, it definitely looks like it could be like a mama-daughter type situation.
Yeah. I don't know. She just looks, and like I said, it's kind of weird because then you're like, you know, you look into that stuff and you're just like, as an evil, you know, Satanist type, whatever the case be, like she's actually looking better looking than she was when she was like on the side of good, basically. When it's very strange, honestly, you know.
No, I agree. You know how over the years, she's come out and said she's a witch, and like a lot of her concerts are fucking satanic.
Oh yeah, I could totally buy that shit too, for the matter.
And it's fucking creepy and disturbing.
It is.
And it's also like you could be scouring, whatever social media, and sometimes you'll see a slide of pictures how modern day celebrities look like people that existed many years ago. And you see like
the whole vampire theory
pictures
too
of like Nicolas Cage or Jay-Z, like that one of Jay-Z, that motherfucker, was it like the 20s or 30s, looked just like fucking Jay-Z. Like they were trying to say he's a time traveler or something. Because they look
I could see the vampire theory in some cases being more to the point there.
Yeah, but how would you explain them being able to be in sunlight? Because most of the lures, they can't be in the sunlight.
Well, that's the thing. It's all supposed to be like folklore, right?
Yeah, no one really knows.
Exactly. And the thing is too, like even because I remember when I was actually going to college, there was a young girl who was like, I don't know, 19 or 20 at the time, whatever the case be, because I was like 25 or 26 then. And she was discussing this in one of our courses about like vampirism and stuff like that, and how because she did a bunch of like that research and stuff for that whole thing. And she was saying about how Dracula and how he was able to actually move in sunlight. He just didn't have powers, is what it was. Like it would affect like his mythical powers and shit to be able to do anything. And it was really interesting too, because it was very much like just like kind of thing. And but yeah, it makes a lot of sense actually if it was something like that, where people had the ability to do stuff, whatever the case be, and it was just them having like low level powers or something like that. That'd be the case.
Yeah,
or their powers were being drained or whatever. That'd be the case then. So
yeah, me personally, I don't believe in any of that stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I think it'd be interesting, honestly, and I could totally see something like that happening and that would also explain like the whole like almost like adrenochrome thing too, for that matter, where it's like,
yeah,
maybe that's like almost a variation of blood, to them.
That's their Gogius, their
something,
their fountain of youth,
something. And yeah, it would make a lot more sense then when you start looking into stuff like that, and you're just like, well, that's some interesting stuff then. And then you realize to yourself, and you're just like, So,
yeah, because why is trafficking of children so popular?
Exactly.
Isn't that how they get supposedly how they get the adrenochrome is?
There was a woman.
There was a woman
on. Well, it's supposed to be scaring the kids, is what it is, and getting it that way. But yeah, there was actually a woman. I guess like there was a video that popped up here a few days ago of this woman that was on Dr. Phil, like 10 something years ago now is what it was or something. and she was talking about how one of her kids was actually trafficked and stuff by these pedophile rings and shit, and it was specifically that they were trying to use her for adrenochrome is what it was. So yeah, I don't know how true that is or if that's legit or not, but I thought it was very interesting when I heard that, and I'm just like, interesting.
Well, that's like I remember an interview with Sandra Bullock on Ellen DeGeneres talking about how she loves wearing the makeup that has the foreskin of babies in it. And how it keeps her youthful appearance going.
Yeah, I could see that, and that would make sense too.
And I'm like, that's fucking disgusting.
Yeah, and it's very Satanist shit, dude.
They're not even on it anymore. Like fucking Megan Fox and her husband, how they say they do satanic rituals with each other and they drink each other's blood.
Yeah, which makes sense if you're into that kind of shit too, for that matter.
I mean, she talked about it in an interview, so it's not like someone else's word of mouth.
Oh no, and then he's talked about it too. I think recently, and he was talking about all that weird ass tattoo that he had done or whatever, and was discussing like his own like fucked up proclivity stuff, whatever it was there.
Yeah. All right, man. I'm gonna have to duke out and everything.
No, you're good. We were finishing up anyway. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the day here. And
Duke's supposed to be helping me out with some stuff, and I see he's about to go live.
All right. Well, I am done for the day anyway, so that'll be it for today. We will most likely be back tomorrow. I think tomorrow for Stand Your Ground Saturday. I think I'll do one of those then at some point. I'm not sure exactly when. Maybe around 5-ish tomorrow night, depending.
Yeah. Thanks for having me, brother.
Do it as a prelude to Matt's latest thing if he does his geek chat on Saturday night. So anyway. But yeah, I'll be back for that, though. If anybody wants to join me, I'll send out some links to everybody. Obviously, Corey's going to be on the list, and so we'll lay on everybody else for that matter.
Yeah.
If y'all are available.
All right, man. I'll holler at you later.
So, all right, cool.
Later, guys.
But yeah. And as we always like to say to end these off, always be carrying. Because you never know what's going to happen. You never know what kind of crazy fuckery is going to be going on in this country. And you want to be armed and ready for whatever is to come, dude, because you never know. You never know what's going to happen. You never know what kind of insanity is going to pop off at any given time, and you got to be ready for everything, man. Because if you're not ready for everything, if you're not ready to be able to deal with the insanity of this nation and anybody that's going to be able to hurt you and your family, you're just a sitting duck is what it is. And I don't know about y'all, but I would rather not be in that situation. I'd much rather be in a situation where I know that I can actually save myself, save my family, save my loved ones, do what needs to be done to help my extended family out. And if I can, become that hero that stops a massacre in its tracks, that's what I need to be is what it is. And I feel like a lot more men and women need to step up and be that person, honestly. Because if you're not going to be that person, then what the fuck are you doing, man? And it's really as simple as that. So, have a good one, y'all. Stay safe, stay vigilant. Always be carrying. Make sure that if you're carrying a semi-auto, always be carrying one in the chamber. If you're carrying a revolver, just make sure it's loaded, man. Make sure it's loaded. Make sure you have some extra stripper clips or whatever the case be with it. Because you never know what you're going to need. You never know how many people are going to be against you in any kind of a firefight. And if things pop off, oh man, it's going to be a bad day for a lot of people in this country. So anyway, but yeah, always be safe, always be carrying, always be ready to roll, because you never know if and when you're going to need it, how long you're going to need it for, how many rounds you're going to need, etc., etc. So be smart about it. Be carrying the right kind of firearm. Be carrying enough weaponry, or be carrying enough ammunition with you for that firearm. And always remember, your handgun is to get to your rifle or your shotgun or whatever you have there that's a longer weapon, which usually it is supposed to be rifle specifically, just because, But then again, there's people out there that don't have a rifle, but maybe they have a shotgun. So if it's you get into your shotgun, be proficient with that firearm though, man. Make sure that you know how to do, double loads and quad loads and all that stuff to reload faster, because if you can't reload fast, you're basically, as people have said in the past, dude, shotguns are nothing more than a revolver, which is true. It takes about the same amount of time to reload both of those things. And, if you can't get that done or whatever the case be, then make sure that you can have it ready and rolling for something else, if that be the case then, man, because you never know. You never know what you're going to need it for. You never know how long you're going to need it for. And, if nothing else, if Hollywood has taught us anything, looking at that movie, I'm trying to even think of that movie's called now. The Way of the Gun, they show specifically in that movie of exactly what I'm talking about, of how hard it is to have to reload a shotgun versus having the ability to reload something else, because the thing with a box-fed magazine firearm, like a rifle, is you can just take one mag out, throw another mag in, versus a shotgun, you got to pop that bitch upside down and fucking a bunch of shells into it, and so forth and so on. Unless, of course, you have a semi-automatic shotgun with a box-fed magazine. But even that, you're only getting, 5-6 rounds out of usually, maybe 10 at most, depending on the actual mag, versus, an AR-15 or an AK-47 or something like that, or any kind of variant thereof, SKS, etc. You can have 30, 40, 50 round mags or more, dude. 100 round drum, 200 round drum for that matter. Now, granted, I sure as shit wouldn't want to be carrying around a 200 round drum or 100 round drum for that matter in the thing, but yeah, bunch of 30 round mags, bunch of 40 round mags, bunch of 60 round mags, whatever the case be, would be the way to go, honestly, in many cases. And having that ability to adapt and overcome and be able to actually, do what needs to be done there in that situation. Now is the time to get that stuff done, man. Now is the time to get yourself on that kind of a level to know exactly what you need to do, exactly how you need to prepare, exactly how you need to be, exactly what you need to have on you at all times, and so forth and so on. And if that be the case, and that's what it comes down to being, then that's what it means right now. And if that means being able to carry, if that means being able to, do what needs to be done here and there and everywhere else, and get to, the time period of you having to do your stuff and be able to protect your family and live through any kind of coming, conflict or whatever the case be, and that's exactly what it means. And you should always have the best tool at hand to do that. That's what it is. And it's really as simple as that. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and I'll see y'all on the next one. Have a good day. I will be back tomorrow for Stand Your Ground Saturday. Join us then, about 5 p.m. or so, Eastern Time. And, other than that, have a good one, y'all. Later.